Hi everyone, I'm Laura. I'm going to show you how to crochet these gerberas. So if you've never crocheted before, take a look at my videos about how to do single crochet and how to crochet in the round. If you'd like the written version of this pattern, it's on my website. I'll leave the link in the description. So you're going to need double knit yarn. I've used light pink, grass and lemongrass. You're going to need a 3mm crochet hook, a stitch marker, a yarn needle, some scissors, and some 18 gauge florist wire, so that's the thickness, and it's 36 centimeters long. And you also need some green florist tape, so this is crepe paper with wax on it. So we're going to start in the light green, so the grass colour, and we're going to make a magic ring and do 6 single crochet in the magic ring. So this is the middle part at the front. So we just take that short tail out and put it by the side, and then we do our single crochet underneath both of those strands. And then you can count the V's to count your stitches, and then pull tight on that short tail to close the magic ring. And then we put our stitch marker in that stitch. So round 2 we're going to increase in every stitch. So an increase is 2 single crochet in 1 stitch, and then at the end of the round we'll have 12 stitches. So we take the marker out and do our last increase. And then we put it back in. So for round 3 we're going to be working the back loop. So this is the front loop because it's closest to you, and this is the back loop because it's furthest away. So we're going to be working the back loop for every stitch of this round. So we're going to single crochet in the next stitch, and then we're going to increase in the next stitch, and we'll do that 6 times, and then at the end of the round we'll have 18 stitches. So the reason we're working the back loops only is because we're going to use those leftover front loops to do the frilly part of the middle of our flower. So you can pause the video and meet me back. So we take the marker out and do our last increase. And now you can see there's the first front loop, and it goes around to the point we're at now. So round 4 we're going to work in the back loops only again, and we're going to single crochet in every stitch, so just maintaining 18 stitches. And this is going to be our second round of leaving the front loops. So you can pause the video and meet me back. So we just take out the marker and do our last single crochet in that last back loop. And now we've got 2 rounds of front loops, so we've got a spiral. So we're going to leave a short tail and fasten off. So you can see the spiral of front loops there. So there's the last increase of round 2, and next to it is the first front loop. So that's the one we're going to be working in. So we go into that, and then we pull up a loop of pink, so just fold it in half a few inches from the end and pull up that loop. Then we're going to chain 1, and we're going to make a slip stitch in the next front loop. So we push the hook in, yarn over and pull through, and then pull that loop through the other loop on the hook, and that's a slip stitch. And we're going to repeat that in every front loop, so 2 rounds. So you can pause the video and meet me back. So I'll come to the last part, so chain 1 and do my last slip stitch in that last front loop. So if you'd like your petals to be the same colour, so pink, don't fasten off, but if you'd like them to be a different colour, you would fasten off now and pull up a loop of the new colour in that last front loop. So I'm going to do them in pink, so I'm not going to fasten off, and I'm going to chain 9. So you can count your chains just to make sure. And we're going to start in the second chain from the hook. And we're going to single crochet in the next 8 stitches. So I'll just speed this bit up to show you. So you can count your single crochet, make sure you've got 8. And then when we get back to the green part, we're going to slip stitch in the next 2 front loops. So there's the first one, and then the next stitch in the front loop. And we're going to repeat this all the way around. So you can pause the video and meet me back. So I've nearly finished round 1. I've done 9 of these 8 single crochet strands. And I'm going to slip stitch in the last 2 front loops. And now we're going to put the stitch marker in that last slip stitch that we did, because now we're going to do round 2. So now we're going to work our way back up the side using the remaining chain loops. So we want to count starting at that last chain that looks vertical there. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So that first one that we're working in is that one right at the bottom. So we're going to do a slip stitch in each of these 9 chains. So we do that last one right at the top. And you can count, make sure you've got 9. And now we're going to work our way back down the other side, going through both loops, and we're going to slip stitch in the next 8 stitches. So I'll just speed this up to show you. So when we get to the bottom, we're going to slip stitch in the next 2 stitches. So those 2 slip stitches that we did before. So these might be a bit tight because slip stitches tend to be tight. So there's the first one, and there's the second one. And then we're going to repeat this all the way around for all 9 petals. So you can see where your slip stitch is in and then go into the first chain on that other side. So there's the first one. So you can pause the video and meet me back. So I'll just take my stitch marker out and do my last slip stitch. And then put it back in. So now we're going to do the second layer of petals. So we're going to be working in these green loops that are remaining. So we're going to repeat rounds 1 and 2 that we've just done. So we should have 18 of these green loops, so you can count just to make sure that we're going to go into the right one. So it's the one after where we fastened off. So we're going to slip stitch in the next stitch. So we're just going to slip stitch in 1 stitch to start off the first round. Because for this second layer of petals, we want each petal to be in the space between the 2 petals on the first layer so that we can see them. So now we chain 9 and we repeat round 1. So we start in the second chain from the hook and we single crochet in the next 8 stitches. and then we slip stitch in the next 2 green loops. And then we repeat that all the way around, so you can pause the video and meet me back. So I've come to the end of round 1 now, so I'll just do my last 2 slip stitches. And I'll just do 1 more petal. So you can see that we've got 9. Now we're going to take out our stitch marker, and we're going to slip stitch in that stitch. So it might be a bit tight. And we put the marker back in. And now we're going to repeat round 2. Now we're going to slip stitch in the next stitch. And then we're going to find the first chain on the side of that row. I'm going to slip stitch all the way up and repeat round 2. So you can pause the video and meet me back. So I've just finished my second layer. So I'm going to take the marker out and do my last slip stitch. So I'm going to cut the yarn, leaving a bit of a tail for sewing in, and then fasten off. And you can just flatten your petals out. Now I'm going to thread that short pink tail on the front onto my needle and weave that through the same space through to the back. So now we're going to make the back piece in the lemongrass colour green. So I'll leave the instructions on the screen and you can pause the video and meet me back when you've made that. So now we're going to sew it on. So we're going to line it up and pick up those pink loops from where the petals are joined and then go through both loops on the green part. So we're picking up 2 pink loops on each petal. So 1 near the middle and then 1 close to the edge. So we'll just do this all the way around. And then when we get to this point, these tails are getting in the way, so we can take the end of our scissors to push them down inside and then continue sewing. Then we're going to find a green loop nearby. And we're going to go through it, but not all the way. Leave a loop, and then go through that loop from behind. Pull tight to make a knot, and that fastens off. And then we weave that tail through the middle. And then cut the yarn and use the end of the yarn needle to hide the end. So now we just need to weave in that pink end through the middle and cut the yarn. Now we're going to make the stem. So we take our florist wire and we measure 5 centimeters from the end, and we make a bend at that point. So just a bend at a right angle. And then we go through the middle of the magic ring and come out in the space between that round and the next round. And then we bend that short end close to the long end. Now we're going to take our florist tape and we're going to wind it around the whole length just once. So we start at the top and fold it around. So I folded it around one side and then held it tightly in place and then wrap it around. So this start bit is going to be fiddly. So pull it down at an angle so that it moves downwards rather than wrapping around one place. And it's going to get very sticky, and that's what we want because we're going to put the yarn around it in a minute. So just go all the way to the end. And cut the tape at an angle and just wrap that last bit around. So now we're going to leave several inches from the end of the green yarn and start wrapping it around at the top. And we're going to tightly wind this around, making sure there's no gaps, and the stickiness is going to help it to stick. So I'll just speed this up to show you. You can pause the video and meet me back at the end. So I've come to the end now, and I've just unwrapped some of that tape that we put at the bottom. And I've cut the green yarn and I'm just going to wrap that tape all around it and trim the excess at the bottom. So that's secured that now. So now I'm going to thread that green tail onto my needle. And I'm going to make sure it's wrapped around, covering all of the wire. And I'm going to find a loop and go through it. And then I'm going to find a loop next to that, but not go through all the way. Then I'm going to go through that loop from behind and pull tight to make a knot. And then weave that end through the middle. And then cut the yarn close to the edge of the work. And use the end of your yarn needle to hide that end. And now I'm going to fold that at that point where the 5 centimeter double part ends. So it's just at a slight angle. So there we have it. We've finished our gerberas. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. I'd love to see a photo of your gerberas. If you'd like to share it with me, you can tag me on Instagram at Laura_Wilson01. I also have an Etsy shop where I design and sell crochet patterns, so if you're interested in that, I'll leave the link in the description. If you like this video, please consider subscribing and let me know if you'd like to see more of this kind of thing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.